Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Summer, and to all of you that keep coming back, hello and welcome back. Quick reminder, if you've never subscribed, just to remind you to click that red button there that says subscribe, and after that click the bell sign. That way you get a notification whenever I upload a new video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about this Nigerian lady that has been said to be married 3 times, divorced 3 times. And oh, by the way, she wasn't married 3 times, divorced 3 times. No, she is married 3 times and divorced twice. This is her 3rd marriage, but she is divorced twice. Okay, when I saw the caption, you know the way, like, whenever you see a notification for a video, most of the time is the title that makes you want to click in. I got a notification, one of our YouTube sisters here posted this video, and I got a notification and I clicked in because I was, okay, you know, I was curious, and I clicked into this video. You know, one of the things that got me was how well she spoke. She spoke really well, and you know, she spoke, when I say speak well, is how do I say, the way she presented the whole story, if I can use the word story, was kind of like kept you listening.
There were other things going on that I wasn't happy with, but I could have lived with them. I was ready to live with them, okay? But when domestic violence sets in, for those of you that were on this group, Adorable Mom group, that you knew me then, you remember when I put up my story about my husband hitting me to bleeding points in public. It was in an open space. It was in my shop. Domestic violence, the risk that comes with it. You could be killed, you could be maimed.
But even the fact that he is comfortably letting her know, like, I'm gonna beat you again. You know the way some guys are abusive and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I was out of control, it will never happen again, and then they do it again. You know, we hear it all the time about domestic abuse and all these things, and they apologize, I'm really sorry, I don't know what came over me. And what she was saying in her story, he wasn't sorry. He said he was gonna do it again. She said she decided to walk out of the marriage. I've made several videos where I talk about domestic violence is a no-no. Like a no-no. Like, you know, no, a woman shouldn't hit a man and a man shouldn't hit a woman. When it gets physical, it's time to, I believe it's time to go your separate ways. There's only one life. Do you know what I mean? Nobody should stay in an abusive marriage. She walked away. And, you know, that's one thing I want to say, right? Some people, there are some Christians that be like, stay there and be praying. Let me tell you, God gave you a brain for a reason. The marriage gets to the point where the man starts to beat you up. You're waiting for the Holy Spirit to come down to tell you to shift. Like, seriously? I made a video where I talked about it. I said, listen, when violence gets into it, you're not a tree. Move. There is no reason why you should stay there. You know, some people are going to be like, oh yeah, she left, but she, you know, she left for her life or her safety. She shouldn't marry again. She should stay single forever and die single. Let me tell you my personal opinion about this. There are a lot of things in the Bible that I 100%, oh wow, I understand, right? But there are still some parts of the Bible that I personally can say I do not understand. I'm going to be honest and say that. There are some parts, you know. I remember saying to somebody once, I said there are a lot of parts in the Bible that I can say I do not understand. And I said to this person that the parts that I understand are enough to keep me in the faith. This is honest truth, I'm telling you. There are so many parts of the Bible that I cannot stay here and lie. I say I understand that part, I understand. There are some parts I do not understand. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this part is correct or this part is wrong. I'm just saying that I do not understand it. The Bible says it's better to be married than to burn. When the Bible talks about burning, it's talking about burning in the desire. You know what I mean? You know, burn and lust and stuff like that. That's what the Bible is saying. You're better off being married than to be single and lost or sin or commit, you know, any kind of sexual act or all of this, right? This is what the Bible is saying. So it's better to be married than to burn, okay? A woman is being abused in her marriage. I do not believe that it is the will of God a woman to stay in a marriage where she's being beaten up. I do not believe that. No, I do not. Okay, all of a sudden she's single. What happens to the part of the Bible that says it's better to be married than to burn? These are the areas I'm talking about. You know, that I'll be like, okay, I don't understand what is supposed to happen in this situation. Okay, that's how her first marriage ended. The second one, the guy was unfaithful. She said he had an affair with several people. She couldn't deal with the unfaithfulness, and then that was how that ended. And as we speak at the moment, he's married to somebody else. Some people may be like, oh, even if he's unfaithful, stay there. There was a time I made a video once and somebody left me a comment telling me about this born-again woman. This real born-again woman that had an unfaithful husband but ended up getting HIV through the husband because the man is unfaithful. There is no way that is the will of God for that woman. There is no way. A friend of mine, she watches my channel as well, she was telling me as well of a relative that this happened to. The man was unfaithful, but she was a good wife. The man brought AIDS from outside and gave it to her. She's dead. She's dead now. The man later died and the wife died. This is what some people will say, oh, stay there, stay there, stay there. These are the things that I have to say that I honestly do not understand. Some of you may not know, there is this couple on YouTube. I'll try and link some of their videos here. The woman is called, is it Shania? And the guy is called, I've forgotten their name now.
We're going to let a few more people hop on, and then we're going to get cooking here. And we'll explain to you what we're cooking up over here. So,
yeah, welcome to the 12 days of Christmas, Lavelle Day. And even though I like to claim that I could probably cook, I can't at all. So I'm going to let my wife do all the cooking. She's going to make up some Thrive Bites for us.
And I'm going to go wash my hands real fast.
This lady, her marriage was going, they are white couple now, Americans. Are they Canadians? Americans. I will link it in the description box. And she happens to be somebody that kind of does a lot, she does a lot of vlog, but not like YouTube vlogging. But like she's always on Facebook, always sharing her life and everything on Facebook. And that's how the world have all their videos and everything. The marriage was going downhill because the husband fell in love with somebody else. And he didn't love her anymore. And she said to him, what is wrong? Like, she was trying to get him to reach out to her. Let me know what the problem is. The man was not communicating anymore, okay? And then the next thing, she said to him, do you want to go for counseling? You know, she was doing everything to save her marriage. And she was telling her best friend, I think this marriage is over. I've done everything. He's cold towards me. He's no interest in a lot of things and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, even though she told him, let's go for counseling, he was not interested. He was not interested. Do you know what this guy did? Do you know what this guy did? He killed her. He killed her because he has a girlfriend and he's madly in love with his girlfriend. They already have 2 children. She was pregnant with the third one, which will be their first child. They have 2 girls and now she's pregnant with a boy. And one day, this guy decided to kill his wife, his pregnant wife. He killed her. Like, she died with so much force that the baby inside of her, they said, came out. This is the official autopsy. The baby inside of her came out, right? He killed his wife and killed his 2 children. 2 beautiful children. Because he's in love with somebody else. And he doesn't want her anymore. Okay? If that woman had decided that he doesn't want me anymore, I want to move on with my life, some of the Christians would have attacked her. Some people would have judged her for being single, judged her for being divorced. They would have judged her for, you know, walking away from a dead marriage. But now she's dead. Which is better? Which is better? Wouldn't it have been better if she and her children survived and lived their lives and let him go live his life? Okay, question I want to ask. To be honest, this is the video where I actually want people to leave their opinion. Let's actually discuss this thing. Let's actually discuss these things because some topics sometimes are not really being discussed and trashed. Okay? Now, my question is this. For those people that believe in, you know, till death do us part, that's another thing I have to say. That vow, that vow that till death do us part, do you guys actually know it's not actually in the Bible? It's not actually in the Bible. It's not. That those particular phrases, exactly as they are said in these marriage vows, they're not in the Bible. Okay, I don't know who invented them, but they're actually not in the Bible. That's one. But at the same time, the question I actually want to ask is this. If when the man killed the wife, let's imagine by one kind of a miracle, she survived and she didn't die, and let's say her children didn't die, right? And then she survived it and the police were called and she was sent to hospital. She recovered after 5 months, 6 months, or a month or whatever, right? And then the man is sent to jail for like a long time, okay? What are your beliefs then? Are your beliefs that she has no choice? She still has to be married to him when he comes out of jail? Or are you going to say, okay, yeah, well, you can't be married to him, but you have to stay single? But the Bible says it's better to be married than to burn, okay? So now, all of a sudden, of no fault of her own, right? It's not her fault that this man is a bad guy. It's not her fault that this man ended up in jail. It's not her fault that the marriage went the way it went. So why should she be punished to a life of being single if she doesn't want to be single? Because that's another thing. Because if she wants to be single, fine. If she doesn't want to be single, she wants to be married, why should she be punished for the sins of that man? These are the questions I want us to ask. I find that the people that hold on so tightly to this death do us part, and no matter what happens, you must marry the man, typically is what I have noticed is very African. Very, very African. I am yet to find the church in my country, for example, Nigeria, where they will tell you that, okay, let's say the man went to jail because he was, let's say he committed a crime or something, and he went to like life imprisonment or whatever whatever the situation is, whatever it is. No matter what happens, and the man, let's say he is sent away or whatever, we typically are the ones in our African culture that holds on to this thing that it doesn't matter, you have to now leave. You are not going to be banished to the life of being single to the day you die, even though it's not of a fault of your own. Even though it's not your fault. What about the women and the men wake up and say, I fell in love with somebody else, I want to move on? It happens. The other day, that's another one. The other day on the news, I was listening on the news, and this guy was talking about he was married with 2 children, and then he found out that he's gay. And now he left his wife with 2 children, and he said he moved in to be living with his gay partner. So what are you going to say to his wife? You can't marry somebody else. You can't try to get into another relationship. You have to live a life of being single, even though it's not her fault. Why should she be punished because of somebody else's action? I know in this particular video I'm talking about it from the angle of a woman, but because of this particular Nigerian woman I'm talking about. But it applies to even if you're a man and your wife wakes up and say, I don't want to be married to you anymore, I found somebody else. Why should the man have to live a single life because the woman doesn't want to be with him anymore? Let me tell you, here, like I live in Europe. A lot of you know that I live in Europe. I have seen a lot of marriages. I have seen, not a lot, but I have come across, serious Christians. When I say like dedicated Christians that are serious, that their marriages have ended and they are now in their second marriage. I have come across that. I was surprised at first, like, oh, because I'm African, I'm Nigerian, and in Nigerian context, and when I'm saying Nigeria, I'm talking about Christianity, because with Islam is different, But and I'm like kind of like, okay, what is going on? Like, it took me a while to begin to see a lot of the difference, in the fact that we have, you need to know the God you serve. This is my opinion. Feel free to leave yours in the comment section below. God does not, like, what pleasure will God derive in knowing that a woman that is married to a man, and later on, let's say for example, there were couples in America that the man was later found out that he was a rapist and he had killed children. He was a rapist. His own biggest target is raping and killing children, right? And this man was sent to jail for life. For life, okay? I do not believe for a minute that if that woman decides to remarry, that God is going to condemn her for that. I do not believe that. That is not the God that the Bible talks about. I do not believe that for a minute. What joy will God derive? That's what I do not understand. What joy will God derive from seeing such a woman single all her life, living like a widow for no fault of her own? The man is in jail forever. What will God gain? This is how I think about it. How does that glorify God? You know what I'm trying to say? How does that glorify God? That is what I do not understand. I'm not here trying to justify divorce or all these things. I'm here bringing out a topic that I think is a good topic to address. And like I said already, there are some parts of the Bible that I personally do not understand. I can tell you that anybody that claims to understand every part of the Bible is lying. I feel like he's lying to you. Let me tell you, majority of people, if they are going to be honest, they will tell you that there are some parts of the Bible they do not understand. And the thing again is, typically in our culture, people quickly understand a man moving on. People are not very keen to see a woman move on. There are a lot of scenarios that we don't have answers to. There are a lot of Nigerian men that were married, that were, let's say, not Christians. Let's say they were, pagans, like non-believers. And then they became born again. They became born again and they already had 3 wives, or they already had 2 wives long before they became born again. what happened to a lot of those women? Let me tell you what happened. Some churches will tell the man, only your first wife is the real one, the other two, send them away. And all of a sudden, in Nigerian culture, the other two women all of a sudden become single parents. This one has 3 children, boom, the other one just like that. And then they say only the first wife. While some pastors will tell you that that was where you were before you came to God. God is happy for you to stay that way. People, I find that if you ask, something I noticed, if you go to 5 different pastors with the same question, most of the time you will come back with 5 different answers, and you'll be wondering, is it not the same Bible? You'll be wondering, is it not the same Bible? That's how you know that sometimes people just kind of add their personal opinions when it comes to the things of God. This video, I didn't make it to say divorce is good or is bad or whatever. It's actually a video that I'm making to throw it out there. You leave your opinion, and especially if you can leave your opinion with the Bible verse, that would be awesome. Let's actually discuss this. Let's actually trash this conversation. So for me, when it comes to relationships, it is only the one that wears the shoes that knows where it hurts. That is the fact. You can stay and watch from a distance and be like, oh yeah. You don't know what happens in that relationship. The people have seen it, they'll be like, she's married 3 times, and that's all. They're just going with that. My thing when it comes to things like this is this. I've talked about how I say, but there are some scenes that are just kind of like between you and God and somebody else or whatever, but there are some scenes that are between you and God. Like this lady, I feel like it's between her and God. That's how I feel. When you sit and listen to her story, you'll be wondering, okay, who made it possible for her to marry 3 times? Is it man or God? I'm just saying, these are the things that will go through your mind, okay? And then you find that, she's married 3 times, right? She's married 3 times, and some people that are actually attacking her. I'm going to say it again. I'm not here trying to promote divorcing or married twice or married. That's not my video is about. But at the same time, there are some things that needs to be discussed, and you'll find that some people that are quick to condemn her have never married even once. They both sit back and they try to make mockery of somebody that's married 3 times. And both 3 times, she's married to single guys that never married before. Okay, from the first marriage she had 2 children, the second marriage she had 2 children, so she has 4 children. Okay, now she's married to a man that has never married before as a 3rd husband, right? And she went in with her 4 children. Sometimes you ask yourself, I'm just being honest, you ask yourself, is that God blessing her? Is that God wiping her tears and blessing her with a husband? Or what is it? There are cases where to be honest, there are a lot of topics that I just feel like, I don't know what to say. And I'll be like, only God knows what he's doing in that situation. And I'm not quick to make up my mind about it, because there are some things that are not very straightforward. There are some cases in life that are not necessarily black and white. When it comes to marriages, I know people that have been married for years. I'm talking about 40 years. I have neighbors that were married for 27 years. A close couple. I used to look at them like, and they split up after 27 years. This is one of the things I say to people, be careful, be careful when you're pointing at, other people's stories. You don't know where your own tomorrow would be. So I wanted to share this video just to talk about it, because, because people are talking about, oh, she's married 2 times, she's married 3 times, and all of these things. And I'm processing this thing in my head, and I'm thinking to myself, are all cases really the same? And what is the stand of God when it comes to a woman's life? What we've seen last year, we know how many domestic abuse cases that happen both ways. We know of men that kill their wives and wives that kill their husbands, in a fight. And everybody come out and say, I remember I made a post about it on Facebook, and everybody was like, oh yeah, what was she doing? She should have just walked away. Wait till you just wasted your life. And I remember making a comment, and I told them, you're all now saying she should have walked away, she should have walked away. What are you doing to those ones that walked away? Because let's tell ourselves the truth. It's easy to be like, oh, she should have walked away. What are we doing to the ones that walked away? A lot of women that have walked away from marriages where there is domestic abuse, where there's been violence and domestic abuse, they have been stigmatized and made mockery of. It's easy to say it only when it goes the other way around. I wanted to come here and share this. So yeah, and I'll be looking forward to reading your comments. And with that, I'm just gonna say thank you for watching. Until the next time, guys. Bye bye.